Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And anyway, I was just going to mention Android. Then we spoke about code names, and somehow we got to talking about censorship. But going back to the Android situation, what I was going to say is you can run Android applications on a PC now. What I don't like about it, as far as I know, it's only Windows, as far as I know, at least initially. So, great, Android runs on your computer, just install Windows. So, I'm not sure about that. But, at least it's somewhere. I suppose it will be available to Linux if it's not available now. And the other thing is, there is a new release of Cyano. I can never remember how to pronounce that. Right, so it's CyanogenMod, or yeah.
Yeah. I'll go with that.
Yeah, because I usually say something like CyanogenMod or something. I can never remember that. I think that Samsung got one of the main developers of that, so I don't think they have made so much progress recently. But they haven't released. So the nice thing about Android is even if you don't like the online shops and you want to open up the experience a bit, you can always install a free software alternative. And I don't think that's the only one anymore. I think there are a few more, and they've improved their site. It used to be a wiki, kind of a media wiki-based site, very kind of very crude and kind of very developer-y type site, and now it's like a really nice professional site, and I think they get like millions of downloads, and loads of people actually do write on their phones, which is good news. So that's really showing you that even when a person's buying an Android phone, people say, oh, it's not free software, it's just Java, and it's closed, and it's DRM and stuff. No, it's just moments away from being open source if you wanted to. Just in the same way you can remove all kinds of operating system and put what you prefer to be using, and making your own customization. So that's pretty good news. I think it needs more exposure. So you buy your Android phone if you don't feel in control.
Now, the real question is, how do the phone companies feel about people doing this?
I think they have to allow it.
They have to allow it, but, how do they feel about it? Will they try and find ways to stop it?
Yeah, no, I don't think they have. I know of only Motorola July last year, they did try to prevent this. There was a big riot and stuff like in Slashdot and sites, and then Motorola is like, yeah, fine, we'll just let anything boot. Now Motorola is probably going to be in Google, so I cannot really imagine Google having an arm-fisted approach and like saying, oh, you have to use our firmware and stuff and nothing else. And they have to be kind of open sourcey and summer of Cody kind of attitude, like, we'll have open source, and they have to allow people to practice their choice. So I think it's quite important that we have those projects actually succeeding, because just because you have them doesn't mean people will actually download them. The developers will fork Android. So it's important to show, look, it's still open and still some developers are interested and people use that. I think if it came to the point where over 50% of the users of Android phones were using that, I think that's the interesting point when the company starts thinking, hold on a second, we're not controlling the users. They found freedom. And then they will kind of start to crack down, or maybe limit things, or maybe use certain features and say that's...
Yeah, it's funny how that's always the reaction to people being free. What do you mean they're free? They're supposed to be mine.
They use Tigeraso again to actually... That's interesting. We mentioned this before. What I did find out, remember the Tigeraso Microsoft intends to use to get a certifications for Windows, I call it Vista 8. The computers that will be only booting something very specific, like Windows 8 or something. One of the impacts I didn't think about before is the impact on the environment, because once the computer doesn't run Windows, or when a person wants to move it to a different country or have a different need, it will not boot anything except a very specific thing, so it might be going into the landfill very early. And that's just one of the arguments you can use against the computer that's just made very dumb and very non-versatile to just run a specific piece of code. It basically killed the computer. As soon as the operating system is dead, the computer is useless. So that's one of the arguments against it, which I haven't...
Well, they're trying to move towards that, and that's one of the things I don't like about the current way we're going with slates. We're trying to move it towards disposable computers, and I'm like, I don't want disposable computers.
That's what Apple's doing in some ways, but
yeah.
And Apple, I think Microsoft could use Apple's justification and say, oh, don't look at us, And Google's doing something similar with the Chromebook. So it's not really happened that we allow certain companies to do that, and then when Microsoft is doing it, it's just this company is doing it as well. So we have to really crack down on TiVo as well and say, we have to stop the TiVoization thing.
With that in mind, though, disposable computers aren't something new. In fact, one could argue that our upbringing and our computing history has been indeed with disposable computers.
And I've never liked that.
Yeah, the Amiga, the Atari ST, the Nintendo 64. I know these are games consoles now, but it's the same type of thing. Once the product was dead, that was it. Was dead, and there was nothing you could do with your N64 out of the.
Well, you could take a webcam and do some fun things with it.
yeah, but it's so.
What are you talking about? I still have an N64.
So do I. But when people do say about this disposable computers, yes, it's a very good point, but it's something that we've had throughout our computing history. I mean, there's not a lot I can do with my Spectrum if I wasn't happy with its with the Spectrum itself. It was you either liked it or lumped it, I think is the term. But moving on, because the time is pressing on.
We'll just play a quick song. It's called El Tigeraso, and it's by Maluca.
Tengo todo, papi, tengo todo, papi, tengo fly, tengo body, tengo una sabrosura. I went around your way, I went to 182nd and Audubon. Just the other day, got my cookies on my side. You riding in me, cruising down the avenue, but papi, you keep blowing all that tigerazo in the air, knocking me, and I'm just trying to get some Broadway. Dragon boots and all, I gotta walking tall. Jimmy Judy, sauce in the hood, and making girls eat what's good. Tengo todo, papi, tengo fly, tengo body, tengo una sabrosura. Tengo todo, papi, tengo fly, tengo body, tengo una sabrosura. Ay, mamá. Papi, ¿usted me oye? Ay, no tengo número. ¿Usted está loco? Ay, por Dios, mira esa vaina. Oh, no, me mata el novio. I went around your way, I went to 182nd and Audubon. Just the other day, I met you with the salon, looking good like always. Went to the bodega for a loosen, you had that tigerazo in the air. Mamazota del block. A mí me gusta el tigerazo porque te tiene esta calle on lock. El tigre, 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 ay mamá.
Right, thanks for staying around. Yet again, I'm impressed by Roy's pronunciation, and
Which is probably incorrect anyway.
it sounds good, Roy. It sounds as if you are pronouncing it correctly. Gentlemen, we are running at 2 hours and 44 minutes in total because of our pre-show talk. So what we'll do is we'll press straight on with the ownCloud 2 release, which I think Roy is going to bring us in on.
Yeah, well, we have all these efforts to embrace the word cloud, and we mentioned this before. Cloud just meaning basically some computer remotely doing something that you don't quite control, but you just give it some commands and it's supposed to serve you in the same way that a CPU would do, but it's like a CPU that's accessed remotely, the code is based remotely, and there is the attempt to try and open wash it a bit and try to say, oh, we also have an open source cloud. So this is one thing that Ubuntu was trying to do before. There is a project called ownCloud, which you can check out. Version 2 is out now. I don't really think that there is much that I can tell about it, but I think it relates to the fact that increasingly now we see all this interest in web infrastructure and moving into the servers. Especially, I think, as we, correct me if I'm wrong, as we move more and more into phones, is it reasonable to think that we'll need the servers a bit more if we use more phones? Because we need.
I would say that